senior, 6'10", number 20, Steve Novak.
My senior year, we made it to state. My dad was coaching, and my little brother was a freshman on the team.
Chris Novak.
We had the dreams of being there and winning it.
Final score, Madison Edgewood 46, Brown Deer 37.
Right at the end of the game, for me, my world was ending. I was losing my senior year at the tournament. At that point, I'd committed to Marquette, and Coach Crean came down and said, I know this is tough for you now, but you're going to have a long career ahead of you, and keep your head up. There's a lot of good that's going to still happen after this, and, he was right. The team that we had when we went to the Final Four, for sure our star was Dwayne Wade. Whenever you get to play with someone that you truly feel like you can always win the game no matter how much you're down, he has that kind of talent. You could guard him in practice. You could guard anybody. This is where our locker room is over here, and then there's a nice picture of myself, and that was actually a picture right after I hit the game-winning shot in the corner against Notre Dame. Marquette Notre Dame has always been a huge rivalry, and a lot of the alumni, they said if there's only one thing you do, as long as you beat Notre Dame, it'll be a successful year.
Gets it to Novak. Novak throws one up for three. And the Bradley Center is rocking.
Coach Crean was tough on me. He was so intense. I had never run so much. I had never been, toughened up the way that he did, and I needed it, and he knew that, and there was no other way to do it. He forced me to find ways to be a better defender, to be a better shooter.
Novak, 30-footer, good! Baby!
Going to Marquette University was by far the best decision I've ever made. I think it was a place that I was able to truly be pushed to the point where I needed to be pushed. It was my first experience of really being part of a basketball family, a group like that, where you really learn what it was like to compete as a team.
3 attempt, you bet!
Baby.
Oh, baby, that's
there you go.
37 for Novak!
It taught me the things I needed to know to be able to get to that next level, which was the NBA. So now we're gonna head to Moe's Irish Pub where I had my draft party. Just had a bunch of family and friends and teammates and coaches here, and we were sitting in this room. It was like my family in this room, and I had all my friends and everything out here.
Thank you, Steve. Russ Grant rejoins us. The Houston Rockets are on the clock. The second round of the draft. Here's Russ Grant, Deputy Commissioner.
Draft day is a day that I think as a player you look really forward to, but you're also extremely kind of fearful of, for the possibility that you could get picked or you might not.
With the 32nd pick in the 2006 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Steve Novak.
To be able to hear your name called, I think for me, you think back to how you got there, and the work that you put in and the times when you just didn't think you were maybe good enough, or you were told you weren't good enough. At times in college when I wasn't sure I was going to be able to be a good enough player to play in college, when I almost quit playing, I think you almost just think back to all those times and you think it was all worth it. It's been really a bumpy journey. We struggled at times to know, where we're going to still be in the NBA, where we're going to have to move overseas. We talked about Spain for a while and China.
Well, even before that, we got married, I moved to Houston, and we went to the D-League.
I had a 3-year contract at that time, so we didn't imagine that was a real possibility. But, it was humbling, and I think those kinds of things were a big reason for, why I think we are where we are today. I think it was, I realized how much time I had put in, and that I wasn't willing to just, let that kind of thing go.
The low point for us, I think, was probably right after Mac was born. Steve had interest early on in free agency, and then we found out really there weren't any teams that were interested anymore. And so we had to start exploring overseas options, which is a tough decision for a family that has their first child and a child that was premature. The unknown in this job, I think, is really the hardest part of it.
It was scary at that time, not knowing, about your future. Where I'm at right now is really just the beginning to another step in the journey. I feel like I have never been at the point where I knew I could be on one team in one place for 4 years. I have a 4-year contract. For me, that's special. That's something I've always wanted.
The last few years, we were all kind of waiting for Steve to get his chance, and this year being able to watch Knicks games was a lot of fun. He goes on the court and find ourselves hoping, pass the ball to Steve so he can shoot again and do that awesome title belt thing and make the face that you make when you do that.
try again. It's good. Three-pointer for Steve Novak.
Steve's not like an overly boastful type of guy, and you knew he was, having a lot of fun when he did that.
The story is that one of our security guards for the Knicks had been telling me since early in the year, look, you're a Packer fan, you love Aaron Rodgers, do the belt every time you make a three. And I'm like, no, look, it doesn't make sense. I'm not doing the belt. But eventually we ended up actually playing Dallas. Basically I had been released from Dallas. And I think because of the fact that there was just a little bit more emotion with that game, knowing that they had cut me the year before, and it literally hit me at that moment to do it. It was like, I think I hit it, and I just said, now's the time. So I pulled it out, and it hasn't gone away since. I'm a Wisconsin guy. Aaron Rodgers does it. I feel like when I do it now, it's kind of like a shout out to my people in Wisconsin.
Every time I turn on the television, I get goosebumps when you hear his name because, you grew up with him and, he's always been Steve. That'll never change.
To see good people who worked hard, who treated people the right way, be successful, that's awesome. I think maybe I'm building him out to be Mr. Perfect. I'm not doing that. He's far from. His golf swing is terrible. I'm not sure about those shoes. Oh, jeez. But in terms of a resolve and an approach, I'm not surprised he's successful.
Novak from way downtown.
The first time we were in Madison Square Garden was on Easter Sunday of this past season. Walking in the place, it hits you, the significance of the building itself and the history behind it. But then to have my son take the floor, it brought it home very personally. It was a very special moment for me, and I did tear up.
We cried. Well, we've done it before with the kids with basketball, but it was definitely that kind of moment.
Outside, Novak, he'll tee one up.
I've never had the feeling where I feel like I've arrived in the NBA. I've been almost out of the league several times, so that's just something I'd be scared to feel. And I think that the reason I am with the New York Knicks is because of the way I was raised, because of situations my parents put me in. And so I'm just extremely grateful for those things.